not much to say because I'm basically doing the same stuff I was doing yesterday, working on some 2D and 3D design docs, and I'm in a nice, happy Friday kind of mood, so that's, I like that. Hey, if I keep adjusting this like it makes a big difference. It doesn't really, but that's okay. Hey, if you're watching this on a VOD or on my YouTube channel after the fact, please consider like, follow, subscribe, comment, all that kind of stuff. I want to grow my channel and my content related to design and programming in general, and I need audience help with that kind of stuff. So if you're up for helping along with that kind of thing, go right ahead. More involved methods of help could be sharing my channel around, sharing any other content that I produce to people who might find it interesting, spread the word, and if you're so inclined, you can support financially with the donate link in my Twitch About Me page, or follow me on Patreon. In the case of Patreon, things are nice early stages, so if you like being on the helping side of figuring out how I can make the Patreon platform more valuable, cooler design, better incentives, that kind of stuff. If you love helping out with that kind of thing, you know, there's an opportunity there for you to kind of be an early influence on how things go. That's my deal. And I'm just gonna get going and work with Clojure a little bit today. Nice easy Friday, so I hope it stays nice and easy. I hope things go well for you, and I appreciate you, an audience member of any kind. Just know that. All right, I've got a bit of coffee. I've got more coffee brewing in the background because I want some coffee today. I want coffee every day. That's how I work. Okay, so I've been chugging along with this design doc here for a quilt pattern. I've brought this up a few times. This is using a newer code base, so it actually is turning out quite a bit nicer, and things were going along really nicely until I got to this point here, and this latest step 7 here is exhibiting a problem, which I think I can fix. If I can fix it quickly, I'll do it nice and quick. If it's not going to be a quick fix, then I'm going to put this aside and work on my desk design instead. But I have an idea as to what might get this to work. I also realize, if you give me 1 second to pull up my chat, then we're good to go. Then we're all good to go. All right. Let's see here. Boosh. Boosh. Okay, so what is the issue here? Well, I can exhibit it pretty quickly with this. I need to rotate this piece 180 degrees, and it is rotating all of the subcomponents and just messing up the whole thing. So I have to fix the group rotation approach here. There's another problem which I didn't realize is I could maybe exhibit it here. Okay, I can rotate a star component by 45 degrees, and it has all kinds of not a number errors. If I unwrap it one level in a group here, it's fine, and that's why I think this problem is a quick fix. All those numbers are just fine there. So I think this is related to a problem I've kept running into because I have been messing around with the rotate stuff trying to get it to work, and I think I'm just missing a bit of logic around how I actually recursively run the rotate transform. So I think I can make it work pretty quickly, but we'll have to see how that goes. I'm a little bit concerned about this bounds rotation thing, because I thought it was actually rotating through the midpoint, but that might not be the case, and maybe that's okay. Let's not worry about that for now. What I do need to worry about is the situation where I forget how this works. Okay, I can group things like that, but if I group something that is a list, okay, I believe this situation here where the group contains a list, I think that's where things break down. So I wonder actually if what I need to do is change the behavior in the group object here, group here, right, so if let me think about this for a second. So this situation here is such that, well, let me first get in this setup. I could have just done get. Okay, so this situation here, I want to actually make it like a list. So this is what it'll look like when the G command or the G function is called on this. The content in this, inside this function, will look like a list of, like a doubly nested list. So if I count this, it has 1, its length 1. So if count of content is 1 and first of this is not a key, right? Like if it's if instead I have it's of the shape like this where it's not in a list, then it's a key. So in the situation where you have and equals 1 count content and keyword first of content, it's actually, so it's and not this. Okay, if that's true, we just do this, I guess. I don't know if this is actually right, but I'm going to give it a shot. Oh, this is incorrect. Otherwise, you just do that. So let me write a little comment to myself here. So content is a list of elements. Otherwise, content is a single element or a list of elements. One level only. Yeah. Okay, so that might fix that problem. I'm not 100% sure yet. I'll have to see. And in order to check, I can adjust the code here. It might fix one problem and cause another, I don't know. Everything else looks good. Okay. Right, what am I trying to do now? That should fail. Okay, so that's still evidently not fixed, but now I have another little question in my mind here. svg/rotate 45. Last time I tried this, it did fail. Okay, so this is going to break again, I'm guessing. Yeah, so this did not, in fact, fix the problem I had. So what's going on here? Ooh, don't want to go to the debugger. Nope, I want just the console. It's going to give me a big messy error here. Object has not a number in there, so clearly this didn't work. I have to go back to the drawing board, or just try to confirm that the code is properly being loaded. Try it one more time here. Okay. No, still breaks. unfortunately. So let me let's do, if I rotate 45 the star group, okay, that seems to work. But now if I rotate, actually there's a bunch of nils in here. I wonder if that's causing issues. That's a good thing to check actually, because it might be incorrectly grabbing some things. Well, okay, let's what did I do here? There. Okay. Instead of rotating the star element, let's wrap it in a group tag. Okay, so things are stepping in the right direction. Let me check this now. Center unit. So there's a few things that are getting the not a number error. So there's still group nesting issues in this case. Okay. It's unfortunate. Okay, why would that be the case? I'm just trying to figure this out, and I'm having my brain's not locking on to what's going on here. Okay, center unit. Yeah, so as soon as I group, so there is already a list here. And why would that be the case? This one's fine. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. This is, and this is. So it just pushes the problem down one level, I guess. Might be in the transform setup as well. Let's see. Do 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 do. I actually don't think it's this. Is it? Wrong brackets. Okay, now let's group this whole thing. Okay, so that's a group containing a group. Rotate this whole thing by 45 degrees. That seems okay. But if it's a group of a group of a group, when does it become a problem? Or does it become a problem? Oops. Okay, there's two groups which I want to group together. Things are looking confusing, but it doesn't have to look pretty in the REPL, at least not right now. Okay, all I need to do is svg/g, this group, okay, so here nothing's really going wrong, actually. There's no weird nesting other than the structure I provided already. So it seems to be coming from something else, and that might be actually how I defined the center unit. So let me have a look at that directly. If I have a peek at well, let's redefine the star first of all. Okay, so the star element is itself a list. Oh, is that the problem? Wait a second, what's going on here? Do I even need this in there? Looks like I don't. Actually, it kind of looks like the translate is the problem here. Yeah, maybe. So if I do svg/translate, but if I do svg/rotate, oh, interesting. Okay. Oh, of course, this is all in a for loop. If I actually do this, that might actually just be the cause of this problem. I actually just need to wrap this whole thing in a group tag. Let's have a look at that. Let's see how that works. Let's see. Things are looking promising. So the star shape is fine. Okay, now let's see what happens. Hey, Emerson, how's it going? Hope you're doing well today. Hope your Friday is going well. Let's see what's going on my end. All right, a moment of truth here. Oop, that's still all screwed up. Let's try this though. Okay, so good news and bad news. The good news is rotating this center piece no longer breaks the program. That's good. The problem is it's not rotating things correctly. I thought I had fixed that, to be honest, but that's clearly not the case yet. So, gotta fix that one, but that's okay. What's new with you, Emerson? Any crazy stories? Any cool projects? Any fun games or whatever? What am I attempting to do? Okay. Right. I have to go to the template shapes and try. Actually, I have to go all the way up here. Let's try something a little crazy here. Let's do path polygon and see. Huh, that didn't do it. Okay, not a problem. Oh, it also didn't accept the change. No, that's not working yet. That didn't do what I thought it would do. Hard refresh again. Why are these all polygons? They should be path polygons now. Bits. This template function here should be. Oh, I see. I didn't change it everywhere. I need to change it everywhere. That's the problem I'm having, of course. I kind of don't think this will actually solve it. Ooh, looks like there's a bigger problem. Well, that's not good. What's the reason for that? Oh, probably I don't know. I don't get it yet. Man, my brain is lazy today. I don't want to think through this. There's got to be a solution. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do though? I'm gonna go solve this a different way and kind of do it the proper way, as it were. So that means to get this error sorted, I do have to go back to nope, I'm in the right spot here, template, turn it back into just a regular polygon, rebuild the document from there. Okay, now to solve this particular issue, I have to have a look at how I implemented the polygon or the group rotate with polygons, because that's obviously not working. So let's have a peek here. Okay, these two things should basically have the same idea behind them. So what's going on here? I get the midpoint from the object. I get the paths. For each path, I transform the points by this method. Oh, hey Mike, how's it going? How'd the stream go yesterday? It went quite well, at least in my opinion. I messed around with a few different things. First of all, I started out by doing some good work on this 2D document here. And then I started I mean, it's very, very plain, as you can see, but I have the project folder ready to go for designing a new desk. The desk I use here, I don't know if you could hear that, but I took a shelf out of it and it holds up, but I noticed that the legs now are getting a little shaky. It's an old desk, so I want to replace it anyway, make it look cooler. So yesterday I did those two things, and I was just fixing up trying to fix this up a little bit before I move on to some 3D design today. So things went quite well yesterday. Oh, there's another thing that I thought was pretty cool as well, which see if I can show it quickly. Okay. This is gonna seem weird, but I can explain in just a second what this is. Okay, so this is a squirrel SVG thing, and I'll show you how I got this if you give me just 1 second. Okay, so for another quilt pattern design, there's more advanced paper templates that are going to be used. This is a template cut out of a piece of paper that my mom designed herself. She just gave me the piece of paper, no measurements or anything, and I managed to get the SVG path data from this piece of paper into the program. So that was also pretty cool. I was happy with that, right? See this? You can, it is indeed a path element with all kinds of path data right there. So all in all, a pretty successful stream yesterday. So I'm happy with that. That's cool that I can get a measurement for a cutout into the program. Yeah, I'm really happy that it worked. So the way I did it, like I took a picture of this and I manually adjusted the contrast and stuff like that so it was close to black and white image. And then I ran that through the tracer basically. Then the only thing left to do, which I haven't done yet, I would still need to calibrate the actual dimensions. So basically I could, find the horizontal width of the paper in real life and just do a just get the just scale it so that it's real size in the program. Not hard to do. Haven't done that in an automatic fashion yet, but as a proof of concept, really I have the hardest step done. I have the path trace already done, so that's really good. And it's conceivable that that can be applied to any template image, right? It doesn't have to just be this. It can be more complicated things, So happy with that. I'm not going to work on that much today. That'll be in the future anyway. The last little thing to do though is just fix up the rotate method for this, because that's not what that's supposed to look like. I just noticed that something went wrong as I was fixing up this document a bit. So I'm gonna see if I can apply that change quickly. If I can, then I'll move on. If it's gonna take a long time, I will also move on. So see that? So it's rotating every piece independently, not rotating the group as a whole, and that's not what I want. I want it to behave this way, so I have to change it. Shouldn't be that hard. In fact, I thought it was working. I guess I missed something, so I'm just having a quick peek to see if I can get this sorted out. How was your day yesterday, Mike? I believe it was a nice Thanksgiving holiday. I hope things went well for you. Hope you had a good time. Okay, so what I can actually do here is, well, actually here, let me do it this way. Do m is equal to midpoint of k props. No problem there. Shouldn't be anyway. Oops, that's a bit weird looking there. Okay, so there's no paths data, but there is basically this transform I have to do. So let me do points equals this, and let me do x points, transformed points, is going to be this method. Which I can just copy. Oh, excuse me. Theoretically, anyway. X points is points. Okay. Oh, and then I'll just call it X props instead of new props here, just to try to be a little more consistent. Okay, let's see if that'll work. Let's see, Mike. Oh yeah, it was good. Had some friends over, been seeing during the pandemic. Over for a late lunch meal, which was fun. Oh, okay, gotcha. Nice. It's really nice, hey, to be able to, you know, the pandemic is what it is, right? It's not fun, but it's really nice to have some group of people that you're still able to be with regularly. I have a group of friends that we do board games on every Friday, pretty much, as much as we can, and we've been in the inner circle of people throughout the whole pandemic. So that's been really like a social pressure release valve, you know. It's just been nice to be able to see some people in person. Is really good. So I'm glad that you were able to do that yourself. That's really nice. It definitely helps with the sanity. Oh man, totally. It's so hard to not be able to see the people that you like and that you love, right? It's important that we're all safe and try to not act selfishly, but I completely understand and sympathize when people want to see other people in person. I get that. It's a tough time, right? So I am, just to say it again, I'm just really glad that you're able to have a nice meal with a close group of friends. That's great. I'm so happy to hear that. Yesterday was nothing special for me because in Canada we already had Thanksgiving. So just a normal day. Doesn't mean it wasn't a good one though. I had a nice day, as it turns out. Okay, let's just get the ball rolling on this one. Hopefully this change is what I think it is and works. I gotta say though, I'm proud of how this is coming up. It's starting to look really nice. These simple 2D SVG icons and document or figures, I really like that clean line aesthetic. I'm proud of it. All right, let's see. Ah, I broke it. Okay. I thought I fixed this problem. What's the deal? What's the deal? Okay, well, you know what? Let's, oh, that won't fix it either. Let's, just check one quick thing, get this back to display. Oh, even that's broken. Well, shoot. I messed it up. Is it this? Maybe this is... Okay, well, you know what? I am going to get it back to a visible state, switch gears to a different project, because I don't want to deal with this one right now, to be completely honest. One day this will all be a little bit cleaner, a little bit nicer, a little bit more professional, but it's not today, I'll tell you that. Soon, soon. I'm getting closer every day. That is true. It might not appear to be so on some of my streams where I run into problems, but things are getting better. I can say that with reasonable confidence. Okay, this should display now. Okay, so now I should be able to rotate it. It'll look wrong, but yeah, okay. So that's, I'm gonna leave it broken like that to signify that I need to work on that rotate implementation. Shouldn't be a big deal. I think I know what's going wrong. I just have to do that. But this project will be done for the day because I'm sick of it. I want to see if I can get clever with doing my desk design and have some fun with that. So let's shift gears. Definitely making progress from what you're seeing, from what I'm seeing, sorry. You even have a fancy be right back screen. High quality production right there. Well, it's better than it used to be, I'll say that. So yeah, you know what? I'll take it. Like, unironically, I'm happy with how I'm doing things. I'm happy with the progress I'm making. And I'm happy to share bits of it on stream. It's really fun to do. I'm happy with how things are going. So yeah, thanks for that. And speaking of the be right back screen, I am actually gonna use it right now and get myself a little more coffee, because I'm kind of feeling like I want a coffee. So I will be right back. Okay, that did the trick. All right, let's switch gears here. Get working on this. Super fancy piece of kit. And actually, if I think about kind of coffee am I drinking? Buddy got me a good dark roast for my birthday a while back that you love. Oh man, so I'm not much of a coffee connoisseur at the moment. I mean, if I go out and stuff like that, I like to get some really nice stuff, but this is just like a percolated coffee, you know, with the ground, like a big tin of ground coffee already, so it's really nothing special. When I was when I lived in the Netherlands, I would use an AeroPress, and I would get, I think it was called Lavazza. I think. But right now, I'm not fancy at all. Lavazza. I don't know how to pronounce that properly, but it's like, yeah, this I found to be quite tasty. But what I'm drinking now is I don't even remember. it's lame though. So the talking about dark roast and stuff like that. I'm a fan of pretty much any kind of coffee. I actually am really into like a light roast, like a blonde. I find it's a little less bitter most of the time, and it, I don't know, I like that taste. Smoother, you know. But honestly, that's about as snobbish as my coffee preference gets. Not all coffee is equal. I won't suggest that it's all good, but I'm a little less picky than some of my friends. I'm thinking about how I actually want to do this design today, but let's start by getting the right REPL going here. Oops. Okay. Your wife is the same way, a bit lighter roasts and such. You'll drink any coffee so long as it's black, but given the choice, the darker the better. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it's just a preference thing. I'll also drink any coffee. I do like. I go for lattes and stuff sometimes, so I'm not opposed to the dairy product in the coffee if you do it in, you know, the right proportions. But a nice black coffee is really good too. You know, there's no reason to really keep your preference narrow. At least that's that's my opinion. But a good dark roast, great stuff. So this desk design, I might need to I'll just start the REPL like this. I'll just do the Clojure script REPL. Really clever design name, desk. It's functional. Oh, REPL type. Dev, please. Logging. No. Hey, it worked. going to keep this up because that's still important for later. This is a picture of the actual quilt that will be produced by these instructions. So like it's a real thing that does exist in real life. So it's based off something actually. So this is kind of the workflow so far for these. I'm on a tangent, but that's just okay. So these quilt designs that we do, I get a set of instructions just written up from like a .pages file. So like Mac OS has like a Microsoft Word equivalent is Pages from Apple. I don't love it, but that's what my mom anyway uses. But you can use Pandoc, or sorry, what I have to do is open it up in Pages, save it as a docx file, then I can use Pandoc and convert that into HTML or something. So I just have that HTML as a reference, and I am manually converting it into a hiccup syntax so that I can make this web page, and then that web page I can print out to PDF, and then I can use the PDF to send back to and that PDF becomes the product. So obviously those manual steps are kind of a little tedious, so I'm slowly keeping as an ideal end goal in my mind that I could say, okay, you can write up the document in whatever program you want. If you give it to me as a docx format, I can run it through the pipeline and get everything formatted correctly. And then eventually, instead of me manually making the diagrams, I could have some sort of web interface where there's some like a kind of drag and drop UI where you can kind of draw shapes and place them and then send that over, and that can be kind of compiled automatically into a document. I don't know how that would actually play out. Maybe it's a bad idea, but it seems like it'd be really fun to do. And then if I have that workflow done with patterns that are coming from my mom, I could generalize that kind of workflow approach for other people who make quilt designs. I could generalize it to things like garment designs, so t-shirts, dresses, pants, and then very similarly I could start generalizing it for my 3D model design stuff too. And suddenly I've got a few different ways in which I could either monetize or help people to, share their own designs. So keeping the dream in my head here. That's what those are some of the things that keep me excited to work on this stuff. I don't know how far-fetched all of that thinking is, but I like to try and balance thinking in an idealistic way with being pragmatic and realistic about actually executing those things. So this stream keeps me excited but humble at the same time. Anyway, blah blah blah. Let's get some things on the screen here. Maybe. Okay, so all right, this is the component that's being rendered over here. It looks a little messy, so let's see what's going on here. .500 by 500 is a little bigger than necessary. Let's just do this for now. Okay, that's fine-ish. And I've got forget why I thought I had this sorted out where it would auto-center itself, but maybe that isn't the case here. Rule of thumb for software development is whenever asked, can you do X? The answer is always yes. It's just a matter of time, money, and quality you want for the software. So you could want to design software you can virtually stitch a quilt if you really wanted to, just got to put in the time. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. And that's really where I guess that, you know, that's where I try to, when I talk about being humble and pragmatic, what I mean when I say that is looking seriously at my level of competence, my physical and financial well-being, and the amount of time that I expect something would take. And I have to make, you know, realistic decisions about those things. You're not wrong to say that, you know, you can build anything given the right time and whatnot. But it becomes foolish, right? If you need more time than you can be alive to use or what have you, it becomes a risky sort of proposition, right? So I want to be at that point where you make stuff that is super useful. The tools are there. People are happy with how they work. I'm happy with how things work, but I'm not killing myself doing it, right? And I think, you know, in any pursuits that you take in life, I think there is that kind of balance point, right? Like, I go to the gym very regularly, and over the years, a skill I've gained is listening to my body, in the sense that there are some days where you want to push heavy, push hard, really get the burn and the, you know, the tiredness in your muscles. And there are other days where, you know what, I really think I should do more relaxing kind of activity, you know, give your body a break. So kind of finding those balance points in real time is important, I think. And I try to, abstractly speaking, apply that same thinking to what I do on the design and development side of things. I'm nowhere near perfect. These are just like philosophical considerations I try to make when I work on things. It's all a learning process, to say the least, and I'm not the best at anything, right? I'm just trying to make it along in the world, you know? Okay, so one thing I had an issue with here, I have this work surface function responds to the width and depth arguments, but this height isn't actually doing anything, and I don't know what the deal is with that. So what I'm going to do here is pop open the Forge library and open up a Clojure REPL and just mess around with things in the Clojure side a little bit too. Because why not, right? Have a little fun with that. So let's do that. Do. Okay. All right, there. Every once in a while I wonder if the way I set up my REPLs and code and everything, if it looks a little intimidating, you know, in terms of like if people tune in and want to try to learn a little bit about what Clojure development is like, and they just see this mess of windows, if that's like really off-putting. I mean, it's off-putting for me if I walk away and come back. It's like, oh, where was I? but I mean, I'm a little hectic. I'm a little chaotic, so it kind of fits. It kind of fits. It's a little on brand, as it were. Okay, so this forge thing here, let's oops. Okay, I think that is fine. Let's do this. Okay. Let's see here. What can I do? Ooh. Oh yeah. Of course. I'm already in the correct environment here. So if I do work surface and I call that with 555, what does that give me? So I'm pretty sure I'm making an error with my vertices here. They're two-dimensional. They're X and Y here. I'm pretty sure I need to bump them into 3D. I think that's what's going wrong here. So let me attempt to just stub that in here like this. And run this again. Ooh. There's an issue. Okay. I'll figure that one out in a minute. If I don't extrude, what does this look like here? Yeah, okay, so we've got a problem in the Polygon function. So let's have a peek at that. I think anyone joining a team for a language they don't know will find it overwhelming. Not to mention each dev has their own preferences on work environment. That's true for sure. Some people are Emacs, some are Vim, some use IDEs. Your setup is pretty easy to follow compared to others, especially given you go back and explain things thoroughly. Oh, well, that's good to hear actually. I'm sometimes a little self-conscious of my explaining. Sometimes I think I over-explain and sometimes I think it's not that clear. But I keep doing it because I do want to get better and better at clearly explaining things. So that is something I actually try to do. And in terms of the setup being followed relatively easily, I am glad to hear that. That's good to know. There are absolutely things that are inefficient about my setup, regardless of how it appears. And those are things I always think are going to be harder to implement, and then I just avoid changing things. So that side of things I'm conscious is a me problem, but to know that it's not too bad actually is pretty reassuring, so that's cool. Oh, I just have to reply to a message from some of my in real life friends for a minute here. There we go. But yeah, Mike, you're also right. Anyone joining a stream for a language they're unfamiliar with, there's kind of there's going to be barriers no matter what, right? You could have massive font and a single function with perfectly clear comments showing everything all on your screen, and if you don't know the language, there are going to be questions anyway, so you know that does make good sense too. Oh, just again messages. Friends, right? Boom. I'm totally joking, by the way. I love my friends. Okay. I'm genuinely confused by this, actually. I'm quite surprised. I wonder... Ah, okay. Well, let's have a little peek at what I've done to myself here. Polygon. Zoop. 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 Okay, so here is the Polygon function. Here is Polygon 2. And what is the difference? Zoop. Ah, okay. See this here? This was my initial approach to the polygon thing. And it just takes a list of points. But Polygon 2, which I think should become the real one, and I should get rid of this when I'm sure that it is working the way I want, takes paths. Where paths are lists of points instead of just lists of points. Does that make sense? So like a it's a good example. Do I have a good example? Not really. They aren't good friends if they don't drive you crazy every now and then. You know, I think it's unavoidable, right? Humans are always gonna drive each other nuts from time to time, but you gotta love them anyway. Even, you know, I like people a lot, and the fact that they drive you nuts is just part of the deal. I could roll with it a lot of the time, not always, but I try my best. And it's worth it, if I could be so bold as to claim that. Let's see if this Polygon 2 function works. Kinda? Oh, it's still gonna have this problem here. Let's bump these up to their third dimension counterpart. Ah, there we go. So I was talking earlier about I love the 2D clean vector line aesthetic, solid colors. That aesthetic is nice. I happen to really like it. I also really love isometric orthographic projections. I don't know why. I think it might be because I've always been intrigued by 3D modeling and 3D design, and when I finally learned the skills, I was doing it in CAD programs like SolidWorks, and by default those have orthographic projections, and I really like the aesthetic of engineering drawings and stuff, and they all have a nice crisp line isometric view and everything. So I think the reason I love it so much is just because of my background. But even this, like it's obviously ambiguous in the sense that you cannot tell, is this a hexagon with lines through itself, or is it an unshaded clear cube, right? Like it's not always helpful, but the aesthetic is nice. I love it. Silly thing to like, but I do. Okay, so the work surface component here calls the work surface function. I'm gonna just roll the dice here and change this polygon to polygon and change this one to polygon-old, so that I kind of force myself to commit to this new calling convention here, or that's not the right way to say it, to this new implementation that takes paths instead of points. The reason for that is because I do want to be able to have polygons function as advanced sketches, where they can have a path and then an inner path, so you can actually have a polygon extrusion with holes in it. And that's more powerful because, well, a lot of CAD design has pockets and holes and whatnot, so you kind of need to be able to do that. So, got to commit to that, right? The other thing I do need to pay attention to is how I'm implementing this history thing. I'm not convinced that my first approach is smart, in particular because every primitive function has a history key there. So as you transform one of these model maps, the history, my first implementation just appends to the history list the previous, like the call. So, and it it fully expands the arguments to the prior thing. So basically it just grows and grows and grows and grows, right? So it's not really the smartest approach in my opinion. Basically, instead of appending the history to a list, you could just overwrite the history and you'll get a full tree of all the previous calls that resulted in that output without compounding everything over itself. Not sure how much sense that makes, but that's what I'm attempting to do here. And I don't think this works yet the way I want it to either, but it's along the right lines. I haven't worried about it yet because I haven't built a system that calls on that uses the history. I just have it as a bit of an approach, or as a reminder that I do need to build that in. The reason I want to do that is, in theory, if there could be systems where I want to actually just extract the history as a syntax tree, run it through some transformation, and maybe transpile it to a different programming language or something. That's why the history idea is there. Additionally, if you just pass the history into some kind of state thing, you could theoretically use it somehow to in a in a graphical environment. You could fast forward and rewind your model history and branch and all that, but that's a whole other thing for a whole other smarter me in the future. In the meantime, all I care about right now is getting the real dimensions of this work surface. I'm gonna get a measuring tape for a second. The idea behind the design that I have here, basically what I want is to take the desk I have currently, strip the legs and stuff off the bottom, and keep the surface because it's still solid and works and looks okay. And I'm gonna weld together some kind of minimalist looking legs. So the history would let you kind of step through the different steps of building up an object. Like step 1 is drawing the object, 2 would be extruding, etc. Yeah, Mike, that's exactly the idea. And this is there's kind of two concepts blended together here. In 3D modeling, CAD modeling in particular, there's a paradigm called history-based modeling. So SolidWorks, I'm not sure if I have a good image here. Oh, you know what? Maybe I could showcase. I'm trying to think if there's a good example here. Okay, that's a bad screenshot. None of this is working out for me right now. Your idea is pretty accurate. Let's see if, for real, I just want to see the image. Okay, so this here in SolidWorks, this thing here is called the I don't remember what it's called, but as you add sketches and extrudes and objects and things, it builds a tree, a feature tree, I think is what it's called, of all of those objects, and the history builds downward. So you have, you're exactly right. You say draw a sketch, and then the next step is an extrusion, and so the tree will nest the sketch inside that extrusion, and then if you draw another sketch on top of the top part of the extrusion, and then you extrude that, then that particular extrusion is below the other one there, and so it's a history-based model. So storing the operations in order theoretically gives you the power to just pop all the way back to the start of the history, all the way forward. The obvious issue runs into situations where you might branch, right? Like if you have a later step dependent on some earlier component, what does that all look like? I don't have answers for that yet, but in the happy path case, you just do singular things, right? You add stuff into the object, and the history is exactly the function calls you did to get there. The other thing that's cool is you can use the idea of I don't know what it's called, but I've seen this idea talked about before here. I don't know. If you store the state of your app in an atom, and then every other part of your app is derived from that state, if you separately store some history of changes to the state, you can fast forward and rewind to any other point in that history just by taking the initial state and running the functions up to that point. So if I store the history the same way, basically the list of functions to get you to the object shape, and I use that in an atom, in an app, then you just put a little scroll bar or something that lets you fast forward and rewind through the process. Boom, suddenly you have a full full control of exactly where you are in your modeling and stuff like that. It basically would function how undo and redo kind of work, right? Where it saves your history and then pops things back and forward and all that. Anyway, I don't know exactly what I want to do with it. I just know that having that there is probably something that will be really useful. So I put in a basic approach, and I can always go from there. But I'll be right back. I'm going to grab a tape measure and actually measure out this desktop here so that I have the real measurements in my design. I'm also going to turn on a light. It gets so dark so early now. It's ridiculous. I don't have like a shop tape measuring tape on me. I just have like Taylor's measuring tape. I don't feel like a true engineer. 57 by 29.25 by 1 inch thick. Okay. One thing, excuse me, that's a little frustrating. What did I do wrong now? Oh, of course, I was talking about how I was going to commit to that change, and then I didn't change it. Something went a little bit wrong there. Not sure what's going on. So in Canada, like officially we use the metric system for everything, and I happen to like the metric system. I think it's sensible, it's understandable, it's clear to use, and it's relatively consistent. But the good old US of A uses the, I believe it's called the imperial system. Inches, feet, all that kind of stuff. But Canada, being a northern neighbor of the States, does a ton of manufacturing business with the States. And so basically everything we engineer in Canada uses the imperial measurements still. So the country uses the metric system. We learn metric in school, but when you're an engineer, you just end up using foot pounds and feet and inches and all that for everything. And it always frustrates me just a little bit. Like, and it's to the point where don't adopt our bad habits. Well, so it make us change. Man, would if I could, I promise you that. But like, so it's especially the case in Ontario, Ontario has a lot of manufacturing, and a lot of Ontario companies live very, like, in southern Ontario, quite close to the border. And so it's often the case that the cheapest source of materials come from the States. And the States always offers things from, like, if you have a tube mill, all their tube sizes are going to be in inches. And if we also sell a lot to the States and buy from the States, it's much simpler to, and cost effective, honestly, to just adopt that system. I don't like it though. It is frustrating. It's especially weird because you'd think that we could get our hands on metric materials nice and easily, but they end up costing a lot because either you have to go from Europe you have to get stuff shipped from Europe, which isn't always cheap, or you have to find people that do it in Canada, which has less demand and thus has higher prices as well. So it's this whole, the market is what the market is, and if we had the power to to make the States change to the metric system, I think we would. But as far as I can see, that's not likely to happen anytime soon. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's not looking good for the metric system. I don't like it though. It bothers me. Not enough that I can't work with it though. I'm not that stubborn. I do love that the official definition of the inch, I think I said this at a stream before, the official definition of an inch, like, is definitively 1 inch is exactly equal to 25.4 millimeters. So technically the imperial system, at least the lengths, are actually derived from the metric system. So it's literally true that when you're using the imperial system, at least for length measurements, or spatial measurements I should say, you're just using the metric system with annoying coefficients. It's kind of crazy. But that's the way it is, That's the way it is. Right, so this is always one little minor frustration with when you're designing things with, like, plate size things, where the aspect ratio in one plane is crazy, as in the aspect ratio here is 57:1 on the XY plane, right? It becomes a little hard to show it in a nice way. So I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. Let's make it 700 by 300. Oh, it keeps moving over. I think I've done something a little bit wrong with this. Oh, you know what it is? Here's what it is. The 000 point is right here, and that is what is centered in the drawing space, but I have not translated the shape to its own midpoint, so that is what I would have to do here. So is that what I want to do? Yeah, it is. So let's do f/translate. We'll leave it not centered in the vertical direction, so that'll be 0. We'll translate it negative. Oh wait, let's just do it this way. Width divided by -2, depth divided by -2, and that should translate it nicely to its own center point there. No, I guess. What did I do here? What did I miss? Did I just miss a bracket? There we go. Okay. Perfect. That's not so bad. Maybe over the weekend I can finally implement a surface rendering as well, so that these shapes have some solidity to them. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I finally have the Polygon Union functionality working, and my ear clipping algorithm is fixed, so concave polygon shapes get converted into triangles properly. I'm really proud of that. It's not the most efficient, but it works, and for the case of getting some static documents together, it'll be more than enough. So using that, I think I could probably put together a surface renderer that can work a little nicer. The hardest thing with that will be Z sorting properly, so that surfaces aren't rendering over each other when they should be under, but I'm not going to do that today. I'll leave it as wireframes for the time being. Okay, so now what? That's the question. I'm thinking of a way to make a rectangular tube shape and try to see if I can extrude a polygon tube shape. That might be cool. I mean, it could be pretty simple. It could work okay. No one ever writes their best code the first go around. Glad the feature is working now, though. Yeah, I'm happy with it too. It was pretty exciting for me to actually get it done. Let's try to make a little tube function here. So let's just put it in the bits section here. So what I'm doing as I do design documents, what I'm trying to do is, and maybe bits is a bad name for the section, but any functionality that I know is not in any other library, but is useful for the design that I'm doing, I'm trying to separate it into just a little kind of placeholder spot here. The idea being, when I finish a design project, I can look through the bits functions and select which ones are worth putting into my base libraries. That way I get more feature completeness over time without trying to guess the features up front, outside of the ones that I know are going to be necessary. And I've done that on the project for this. I've done that with a few different things, and I'm doing it with this stuff now too. And that, I originally was trying to build the idea of extensions into my base libraries, and I think I might avoid doing that, and I might just use this approach to arrive at a reasonably useful set of general functions that I can use across multiple libraries without having to pull in and out different extensions. At least for the time being, I think that's a reasonable way to wrangle different ideas into a useful set. And it lets me finish projects without worrying about where to put all the code. I can finish the project, port the code into the base library, and then just keep the original project the way it is. I don't need to worry about changing the code for that project because the functions live there anyway. I think that makes sense. Okay, so let's define tube. Let's do rectangle tube cross section. Sure. And that's going to have a width, a height, and a tube thickness. And so let's see here. So a rectangle tube cross section has, just because of the nature of how they're manufactured, they will always have a radius around the corners. Unless if you're talking something like extruded aluminum tube, that's maybe a little different. They can have much tighter radius around the corners. But I will be using steel tubes, so they will have some radius there. I'm not going to require for my design that you input the radius. It's just going to be derived from the thickness. I'm just going to have it as a 1.25 times the thickness. And for today, I'm not going to make it a true arc. I'm just going to approximate it with a straight, because as I'm a little lazy today. So okay, so just thinking about how I actually do want to approach this. Let's okay, so let R be, like I said, 1.25 times the thickness. It's just a hard-coded number for now. It's just going to be okay. There are contexts in which it is really important to have the correct radius here, especially if you're doing laser tube cutting. The laser follows around on a rectangle piece. It might have to cut around the radius, and you get clean cuts when you have the right radius dialed in. Can imagine if you're obviously it doesn't matter on a tube, like a round tube, but on a rectangle here, this maybe is a good example. That line cut around that radius, if you have a too tight a radius, the laser will kind of burn through too quickly or too slowly. So it does, in some contexts, it definitely matters that you have the right radius in there. For this design, it does not matter, so I'm pretty comfortable having this hard-coded there. And that's obviously something I can change when I put it into a base library, right? Seems to make sense to me. Okay. These are the kinds of things where I actually feel like my mechanical background and work history makes me reasonably well suited to make some practical decisions about the kind of code to write. Like, these are the sorts of things where I feel quite confident talking about what makes sense and what's okay to put in or decide in certain contexts when it comes to mechanical design and manufacturing. That's kind of my wheelhouse. I'm happy with that stuff. I guess it would be a little more fair to say this is structural, not so much mechanical. Oh man, I'm clearly talking more than I'm writing code today. Just one of those days for me. Just one of those days. Okay, so I have some radius. How do I want to approach this? Well, I want to approach it the lazy way first. So the first thing I'm going to do, it's a Friday, don't even worry about it. You know what, I'll take it. I'm happy to oblige. I'm going to see if I can yeah, I'm going to do it first without the radius incorporated at all, just to see if I can actually get something working the way I expect it to, and then I'll try to incorporate the radius. Excuse me. Okay, so in order to do that, I can just write the list of points out. Since I know it's a rectangle, I can just do it. I'm gonna do it in a 2D context first. So 0 width. 0 0. 0 width. Come on. 0 0 0 width. Width height. 0 height. And there we go. 0 0, draw to the width 0, draw from the width to the height, draw from the height back to 0 in the x, and that closes it off. So that's the points list. And then the inner points is going to be f/offset, which is a 2D only function anyway, which I should name offset 2D, but I'll get there another day. Points, and then the offset is the distance, so that would be points, and then the offset distance would be -t because I'm going inward. Okay, so then theoretically the output of this can just be f/polygon of the list of map v add z, something I still don't feel great about. Still want to figure out how to get rid of this whole drop and add z garbage, because I don't think it's particularly smart. But okay, I'll deal with it for the day. So I want to add z to points, and then the other path is map vf/add z to I points. The order in which I add that to the list shouldn't matter, but perhaps it does, I'm not sure. So let's actually rewrite this a little bit differently. I'll thread it first, and I'll just do this. Okay, so thread that list through f/polygon, and then for a little bit of a nicer positioning, I'll center it. So translate that whole thing by width divided by 2, -2 actually, height divided by -2, and 0. So that remains on plane, and then when you extrude it, it'll extrude up the vertical axis. I think that makes sense. That's reasonably intuitive. Okay, so that's a rectangle tube. Now the moment of truth. See if that renders, and if it does work, then I'll try to figure out a radius approach. Oh, too many tabs. Classic conundrum. Okay, so here, let me go tube component as a test. Intro. Wait a second. There we go. Work surface. Okay, split. Tube. Tube. We'll just call it a tube. And we'll run the function. I already forget what I called it. Rectangular tube cross section. XS, I should say. Wait a minute. Did I? Geez, my memory is 0 today. Apparently, I couldn't remember if I typed out the whole word or just left it as rect. Rectangular tube cross section. Let's do a 3x2 with a thickness of 0.14 is pretty typical. And actually that's just a 2D shape, so I have to thread that through f/extrude, and let's do 20 so that we can clearly see it. That's a tube, and then the tube component is just going to be drawn into an SVG object similar to this. Nothing wrong with that. And just rename it tube component. Don't know why I did it this way, but I did. Just to make sure that this is just to see if it works. Ooh, problem. Oh. That's a simple one, hopefully. Ah, okay. What did I do? Oh, okay. Well, it might be broken, or I might be missing something. Either way, I'll be right back. Just gonna head to the washroom for a second. It's for sure on the page if you inspect. I'm not sure about that. I will check that when I get back. I won't be too long, but that's a good thing to test. I will be right back. Okay, let's see. Is it for sure on the page if I inspect? That's a great question. Well, the SVG is there. The oh, look at that. No. We got a Batman situation. Oh my goodness, that's horrible. Wow. Okay. All right. All right. Got a real Batman situation. Oh my goodness, what? I love it. I love it. What am I missing here? I thought I handled that. Like the Batman joke, can use that at work. Perfect. I mean, score 1 comedy point. I'll take it. Ugh, JavaScript, killing me, man. A bad craftsperson blames their tools. This is my fault, and I'm just trying to figure out where it's coming from. So it might be, this might not be work. That was a horrible attempt at a sentence. All right, let's pop on over to this REPL and have a little peek at what's going on here. If I def A to be this list of points, just some, no, wait a second. Why am I doing that? Let me just do this. Pollute the REPL, why not? Ooh, again, forgetting to adjust the namespace. Okay, rectangular tube cross section. Let's do 3 by 2 by 0.14. Well then, let's see. Oh, of course. Here's the problem, or I think here's what I think is the problem. Add Z works on a single vector like this, and I'm trying to, wait a second, that should work, shouldn't it? Right? 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1. Okay, so that, I thought that would work. Polygon. Oh, this might be, experiencing some, so I love REPL development, but sometimes state can get confusing if you don't properly update things, and that might be, oh, excuse me, apologies. That might be what's happening here. So let's have a peek again at this. Nope, that didn't solve that. Okay. Oh man. There we go. All right, let's just do this the good old-fashioned way. Let's just look at the outputs one bit at a time here. Okay. That is a point off. So the offset seems to work. I think it's actually offsetting the wrong way, but that's a quick fix. If I just do this, I think that's correct. No, actually it's not. I had it right the first time. Right? It's starting, instead of 0, 0, it's starting offset inward. Is that the right point to offset it to, though? Yes, it is. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so that is working. Now let's check the next step here. Okay. Okay, so that is 2 lists of 3D points, which is what I'm looking for. What I actually think I've done wrong is, ooh, well, this is a problem here. That's a different problem. I think I'm assuming incorrectly about what I was trying to pass in here. My Polygon implementation still might be wrong. It's also true that it's incomplete because I have nilled out one of the values here. Well, looks like I'm gonna have to deep dive back into things and start cleaning this up some more, which is actually good. It's kind of due for some attention anyway, so. Well, okay. Map v vect paths. I'm not sure why I did that. Oh, it might be, this might be me just trying to cover my own butt, making sure that the paths aren't just lists, so that they are vectors for sure. Vertices apply concat paths. Well, okay, let's not guess around with this. Let's just, if I run f/polygon, oh, maybe I have to do apply. Oh, that might be what it is. Ah, there we go. I think that's all it is. And that would be here, thread this. Let's just change how I write this then. Okay, that might be the ticket. There we go. Sweet. Just takes a little bit of focus. Ooh, I also think my vertical axis is inverted from what I want it to be. I think it's going down when I want it to be going up. Let's see if that's true. But this is why I love using the REPL. You can just kind of piece together a logical solution to every little bit of problem. It's not, well, I just like it. It just is satisfying. You feel like a detective or something. It's really corny, but it makes me happy. What time is it? Oh man, I gotta get going soon. Probably got about half an hour, maybe 15 minutes. Okay, zoom in on this a little bit. So there we go. I've got the you can see that there is a thickness on the tube there. I could make it more obvious in a minute. You'd need a monocle and a pipe to be detective dev. I don't know if I'm cool enough to pull off a monocle and a pipe like that. Although it'd be pretty great. Pretty sure smoking's not allowed in my apartment. I'd have to get like some fancy, what are they called? Vape, like a vape that looks like a pipe. Oh my goodness. I'm not sure that I'm happy even imagining myself doing that. But Detective Dev sounds like a nice sort of character, you know, if I ever get into like the weirder side of streaming and YouTube and stuff like that, I could make a Detective Dev character and just go wild with it. My goodness. What a weird day this has been. I'm into it. I like it. The offset's working correctly. Oh yeah, that's right. It's just a cross section. So let's put the tube design here. Get a fake pipe that lets out bubbles. Don't kill your lungs for nothing. Yeah, no, that's the bubble idea is a good one. For sure. Yeah, no, the lungs are pretty important. Yeah, I don't actually, like, I don't vape or smoke or anything, so no reason to start just for sake of a character. The bubble approach, I like it. I like it. All right, this tube shape, if this points upward, yeah, okay, that's something I need to fix in the isometric I don't remember this function. Oh, never mind, I do. Yeah, okay, right. I must have one of the something's inverted somewhere in there. I just have to figure it out. I don't want to do it right now though. That's been the theme of the day. I don't want to do it right now. I'm being a little bit bad in that regard. Okay, let's see if I can come up with some way to kind of put the radius on the tube shape here. That would be probably a good thing to do. Actually, I am gonna zoom this in so I can see a little more clearly. Man, I'm pretty happy with that. And instead of isometric, let's do the top transform. Oh, perfect. Look at that. It's almost like it's a professional drawing. Although, you can see it a bit here. I forgot to put... I technically want all of these lines to have rounded caps. And I also realize I should improve my rendering here because I'm drawing individual line segments instead of drawing the paths in a cohesive fashion. So that's yet another thing to fix. Stroke line cap round. Yeah, see that stroke line cap round makes the corners look a little bit nicer. I mean, it's not very noticeable, but it's a little bit noticeable. But That's fine for now. And since this is small, I can, oop, that's too big. Perfect. Perfect enough, anyway. Okay, so how clever can I get before I have to go? Let's see here. What frep? Oh no, that's not the right thing either. Well, what does frep circle do for me again? If I give it a radius of 1, it's a function. I need to give it a point, right? I think that's, yeah. Okay, so that's not gonna help me. I need the boundary rep version. Do I have boundary rep arcs? Ooh. Brep curve arc. Intriguing. This might be helpful. Okay. Maybe. I don't know. Wait, what does it take? A, B, C. Is it 3D or 2D? I'm pretty sure it's 3D. Let's start at 0, 0, 0. We'll do the final position will be, if I'm pivoting around 0, 1, the final position would be 1, 1, and then the inner point would be come on brain, normally you can think of this stuff. It would be rotate a point 45 degrees, and the point I want to rotate is -1, 0, and then I want to add 1 to that, so man, what a convoluted way for me to calculate something. It's ridiculous. I also don't know if this is right, but it's worth a shot to get a rough approach to this problem. 0.293. 0.293. Not sure if that's right, but hey, let's go with it. Ooh, divide by 0. Well, that's just no good. So much for that. Really? Well, my hopes and dreams have been dashed. Let's look at the code. Center point. Where's the divide by 0 coming from? Probably this function, if I had to guess. Bummer. No, there's gotta be something that works in my favor here. Let me see if I can come up with a less convoluted approach here. Okay, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0 is the end. Let's just pick a number or a point that isn't trying to be clever. Let's do need to have it three-dimensional. Well, shoot. I thought things would be moving along okay here. Arcs have been hard to deal with for some reason. That's okay. Center from points. What I'm trying to do is get a situation where I can draw, or I can have a parametric arc at all four corners, then use that parametric arc and just step, let's say, 6 times through it to get a set of points that I can inject into the outer path, and then offset that path, so then I'll have what looks like a correct thing. That's what I'm trying to do, and this isn't working the way I thought it would, so a little bit of a bummer, but not a big deal, really, not a huge concern. So angle A CPC. Oh right, that in theory finds the angle between the two lines from A to C. Yeah, and then all I do is I draw a circle and I just reparameterize so that the arc from 0 to 1 is only that angle. That's the whole idea. So maybe this angle function is where things go wrong. Oh, wait a second. Wait a second. Is A a fun? What am I doing here? What is this? I'm not even sure what I tried to do here, to be honest. What am I even doing? What even is this? Okay, so it's clearly I did something wrong there. Right? This isn't a function. A is not a function, it's a point. So no wonder this doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense. Right? Is that correct? Okay, let's see here. Time, yeah, you gotta go soon, but there should be angle from points. Angle from points 2. Okay, I think angle from points 2 is actually what I want. Angle from points 2 uses a tan 2 and a bunch of conditional checks to get the angle from, like it always gets the angle following counterclockwise. Can I do a circle with 2D points? I think I can. I think I actually only need to do 2D in this case because the angle from points function is a 2D function. Nope. Man, I'm really bumming myself out here. Well, let's try it. Angle from points 2 just takes 3 points. right? P1, P2, P3, yeah. Let's give that a shot. Ooh. Okay, now if we send a 0, it should give us a point. A 1 should give us the end point. Close. Not perfect, but close. That's floating point problems for you right there. And if we do a 0.5 or whatever, it does also give us a point. So that appears to be working correctly. Okay, so I can use that. In theory, I can use that over here. So that's R. What do I want to do with this? I think I need to create, well, let's, what I'm gonna actually do is first make a I'm gonna manually stub something in to see if it'll even see if I'm even on the right track here. So let's make an arc, which I'll manually put in values and try to get that into the list of points. Yeah, as a starting point, and if that can work okay, then I can make it actually correct. So I'll do that. So this arc I want to be from okay, I want it to be from width minus thickness this is a function too, right? Yes, it is. So the first point is okay. Focus, Adam. Got just a few minutes to go yet. It's the width minus the thickness 0, 0. That's the first point of the arc. The second point is something else. It's skip for a second, power through to the end. I'm running out of steam, but I'm gonna see if this thing works. If I can render out something that looks like an arc on one of the corners of this tube, that's a success. If it totally fails on me, it's where I can pick up next time. So power through though, power through. Okay, so width minus thickness puts you here. Skip the middle one for now, and I'll get there in just a minute. And then I want to do width thickness 0. So in this here, it's actually, I could actually just calculate this. It's gonna be just thinking. Okay. I could do basically svg/rotate point 45 degrees, and the point will be 0 thickness. So let's just say 0, 1 for this demonstration. Then that is rotated 45 degrees, and then I just have to do f/v plus the I just have to add width t plus 0t, right? No, width minus t 0. No. T, yeah, just like that. That's all I have to do. FV plus that. So let's see if I can make that correct. Point svg/rotate point 45 degrees. And the point will be 0t. Not sure if this is right, but it's maybe right. And then here it'll just be the result of the function f/vector add, where you just add the components of each together, essentially translating the point. So you just add point to negative wt t. Let's see what that does. Oops, gotta close that. Okay, that's the arc. Then arc points is into vector for t range 0 to 1 with a step size of 0.2. Give me back the result of arc t. Yeah, okay. So that theoretically means I can just concatenate this list at I'm not sure if this will work. We're gonna find out though. Right? Concat 0, 0, arc points, and the rest of that. Might fail miserably, but it's fun to find out. Oh, did I delete the square bracket? There we go. Okay, let's see what happens. Ooh, not that button, this one. Oh, it totally didn't work. So if I refresh this, it's not gonna render because there must be some errors going on. Yeah, correct. Okay, let's see. Collections must be the same size. Ah, yes, I have an issue with this here. This point I have to bump into 3D. Because everything else is 3D. Is that it? Ooh. shoot, something is not right. Okay, the arc has to be that. The arc points, though, I have to weirdly do this. And then we're getting closer, but we're not there yet. I just guess I can just do this. I have to double check that this isn't just a state issue, state difference issue here. No, that's not it. I gotta get it to a renderable state for a minute. Okay, it's rendering. Refresh. Okay, now add this back in and see if that's gonna break it again. Yeah, it's still broken. Okay, that's a shame. I don't really have any time left, and it's not a solved thing yet. So I did my best, and I'm in the middle of solving this. That's a good thing. So not perfect, but not bad. I do wonder if it's... Oh. Maybe it's as simple as that. Fresh set of eyes and I'll bash it out in 5 minutes. Well, I think you're probably right. It feels close. I'm trying to be probably a little too clever with this approach here, but I think you're right. I'm on the right track. Obviously, I'm not there yet. The points are not being rendered properly, but we're getting somewhere, which is nice. Okay, so one last little test here. Okay, so the arc points are not a thing for some reason. So there's a problem with the arc calculation, but we at least have renderable stuff. So it's a good place to leave off because I can pop into this tomorrow and get it going. So that is going to be it for me for the day. You know what? I'm happy with that. Nice Friday, good chatting, good set of things to start working on. Probably not on the weekend, to be honest, but at least Monday morning I can hop right back into it and get things going again. So I am very happy with that. And thanks for tuning in and chatting. That's always really nice. I do like that a lot. That's all I gotta say. I just hope, Mike, I mean, you're the one in chat. If there's anyone else watching or anyone else tuned in on a VOD later or anything like that, I hope you have a good time. Hope you have a good weekend. I hope the things you try work out well for you, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, Mike, thanks for being here. You enjoy your weekend too, and yeah, stay safe as well. Have a good one. I'm gonna get going. Goodbye. It's not stopping.